What's going on YouTube? This is Trey from Team Hotheads, and I'm coming at you with an Odd Eyes deck profile post-circuit break for November 2017. This deck is tons of fun. It can put out big boards full of very powerful dragons, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So without further ado, let's get into this deck profile and show you what you're working with. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into this, starting off with the monsters. We're running 3 copies of the new guy, Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. He is our new high scale for the Odd Eyes deck. And he's very, very nice. Look at this artwork. It's beautiful. Essentially, what happens is, while he's in scale, anytime an Odd Eyes monster or card would be destroyed on your side of the field, once per turn, you can then replace that card with another Odd Eyes monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which allows you to do a lot of different looping, allows you to summon some monsters during your opponent's turns. When they blow up your monsters, it just gives a lot of recursion to the deck, which the deck really needed. Following him, we have 3 copies of the original Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. This guy's effect actually combos very well with this guy's effect. At the end of the turn, you can blow this Odd Eyes up using its effect to search. And after you're done searching, you can use Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon's effect, since an Odd Eyes card was destroyed on each side of the field, to summon an Odd Eyes monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So that's just one of the nifty little combos you can do with this deck here. Next up, we have 3 copies of Odd Eyes Persona Dragon. Those of you who don't know, Odd Eyes Persona Dragon has a scale effect where during the end phase, if one Odd Eyes, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. If one Odd Eyes Pendulum monster you control was targeted by a card effect that turn, by your opponent's card effect that turn, you can then summon him from your Pendulum Zone to your field, and then replace him in the scale with a different face-up Odd Eyes monster from your extra deck. His monster effect actually is pretty handy, especially in today's meta. It's a quick effect of once per turn. You can target a face-up monster that was summoned from the extra deck and negate its effects. So that can really stop people who are using their Link monsters, their Xyz monsters, Synchro monsters. You put him on the board. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll blow him up and then pendulum summon him back out into the extra monster zone and just leave him sitting there, because he has a 2400 defense and he's a very powerful defense and a very powerful effect. Next 3 of is our main searcher for any pendulum deck that runs Magicians or Odd Eyes Performer Powers. You gotta run this guy at 3. Performer Power Scroll Corvette Joker. You summon him, he searches anything in the deck, and the combo with him and Pendulum Sorcerer is absolutely great. You open up with him and Pendulum Sorcerer. That is a first turn Bagooska. So if you brick, but you open up with Joker and some scales, you got a Bagooska you can sit on until the end of the turn, until the end of the next turn. Off to some 2-ofs, I'm running 2 Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon. This guy has come in clutch so many times. His scale effect, when you swing, allows you to give your monster an extra 1200 attack points. That is great for getting over bigger monsters. Most of the monsters in here, if they get that boost, are going to be at about 3000, short of Persona, who will be at 24. But his other effect is his Pendulum Summon effect. If he's Pendulum Summoned and he inflicts any battle damage to your opponent, you can then burn your opponent for an extra 1200 attack for every Odd Eyes monster in your Pendulum Zone. And most of the times, that's going to be 2. So after you swing with him, you're going to burn your opponent for an extra 2400 attack, for extra 2400 burn damage, which is a really good way to end some games. Next 2 of, we're going to have 2 Astrograph Sorcerer. This is a deck that really capitalizes on destroying your cards and summon another card. So when you have a deck like that, you gotta run one of the sorcerers, either Chronograph or Astrograph. I'm going with Astrograph mainly because he'll search another copy of whatever we destroy, and he's a level 7, which means we can do some really great rank 7 Xyz plays. Our last 2 of we're running is 2 copies of Performer Power Pendulum Sorcerer. This guy, you pendulum summon him out, you blow up a scale, you trigger off Arc Pendulum Dragon's effect, you search for a Joker, and then you can go into an Xyz play. So this guy at 2 is definitely the 3-2 with him and Joker is great. I love those ratios. Off to some 1-ofs. These are just kind of tech choices for me. I'm running 1 Odd Eyes Mirage Dragon. It's a generic high scale for this deck. You can search it with Sky Iris, and there's other effects you can use in this deck because of its name being Odd Eyes. Next up, we got the one Performer Pile Odd Eyes Synchron. It's a Performer Pile, so you can search it with Pendulum Sorcerer. Odd Eyes, so it can be searched with Sky Iris, and it's a tuner. Our second tuner, Noble Dragon Magician. It can be special summoned from the hand, so that's one of the great reasons to have it. I don't really like running it at 2. One of my favorite one-ofs, Performer Pile Odd Eyes Dissolver. Again, can be searched with Pendulum Sorcerer, can be searched with Sky Iris, and it also can be summoned with Arc Pendulum Dragon. And I find that I actually end up using this guy to fusion summon more than I use Odd Eyes Fusion. Our last two are just 2 dragons I really like. We've got one Odd Eyes Saber Dragon and one Odd Eyes Lancer Dragon. Now, Saber Dragon is not necessarily needed. He's just a card I like to use in this deck, but his effect and this guy's effect, Lancer Dragon's effect, are really great. Lancer Dragon essentially protects all your Odd Eyes cards from being destroyed. If an Odd Eyes card would be cards would be destroyed, you can, by battle card effect, you can destroy another Odd Eyes monster from your hand, your field, or your Pendulum Scale. So this kind of keeps you from being board wiped because it is not once per turn. This guy here, his effect is when he destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can then just destroy one more monster your opponent controls. Now, note that it just says you can destroy one monster your opponent controls. It does not say target. So that is very quick spot removal. And the difference between this guy and this guy's level 7, this guy's level 8. So he can be special summoned with Arc Pendulum. He can be special summoned with Arc Pendulum, but he also can be Pendulum summoned in general with this deck, which really helps out. Off to the spells. Most of your spells are searching spells. We got our 3 copies of Duelist Alliance. Searches any card with Pendulum in the name. That's your... So if you have Arc Pendulum Dragon, you can search out Pendulum Dragon and you'll have a complete scale. If you have Pendulum Dragon, you can search out Arc Pendulum Dragon, you have a complete scale. Or you can search out Pendulum Sorcerer because his name is Performer Pile Pendulum Sorcerer. Our next searcher is triple Spiral Flame Strike. Most of the time you will be using its search effect more than its destruction effect, but if you do have one card you need to quickly remove, Spiral Flame Strike will destroy that as long as you control an Odd Eyes card. Otherwise, you can search for a level 7 Odd Eyes monster from your deck and add it to your hand. Another searcher and combo enabler is going to be triple Sky Iris. I've been playing around with this ratio. I may bump this down to 2. If you get a well enough established board, you don't really need more than to resolve more than one of these a duel. You can essentially blow up any Odd Eyes card you want, search for any Odd Eyes card you want, and if you have Arc Pendulum Dragon on the field, when you do that, you can get a free summon of an Odd Eyes card. And then to get our Sky Iris, we are running triple Terraforming. Probably one of the better spell cards in today's metagame. I was thinking either making this a 2-3, 2 and then 3 Sky Iris, or a 3-2, 3 Terraforming and 2 Sky Iris. Still debating. I don't like bricking with them in hand, but the jury's still out for that. Then we have 1 copy of Summoner Monk to search Arc Pendulum, and the 1 copy of Odd Eyes Fusion. I do side a 2nd copy of Odd Eyes Fusion, but I find, like I said, I find myself often going for Performer Pile Odd Eyes Dissolver's effect over Odd Eyes Fusion. And then our trap line is relatively very short, only because I don't like not using traps. So we have a Solemn Strike and a Solemn Warning to negate my opponent from summoning monsters. And then we have 2 Dimensional Barriers for the opponents who like to Exceed Summon, Synchro Summon, and Fusion Summon. These also can be sided out for anything differently. In case your opponent's more link heavy, you can side the Dimensional Barriers out. Guys, we're going to move off to the extra deck now. We're going to get through this relatively fast because it's pretty straightforward. Starting off with our 1 Link monster. We do run the 1 Decode Talker because it's Decode Talker. He's a nice Link 3. So we got the 1 Decode Talker. Let me run 2 Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. He can be fusion summoned out. into the extra monster zone, then he can be destroyed with Sky Iris. And if you have Art Pendulum Dragon on the field, you can then bring him back into the main monster zone, which is a really good combo. And the best thing about that is, once he special summons back again, he can use his effect to bounce to the face-up attack position monster back to the hand again, and you still have that negation by sending a card from your extra deck back into your main deck that's a face-up pendulum monster. So Vortex will really help you. Vortex plus Lancer Dragon is actually a really strong board, because then they can't really get rid of Vortex because Lancer can protect it. We have the 1 Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom, because you do run a lot of Dark Pendulums in here. You contact fuse them into him, you can copy someone's effect, and then all your dragons can swing with piercing damage, which is really devastating, especially with Phantom Dragon. We run the 1 Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier, 1 Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, 1 Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon, because it's an Odd Eyes deck. Over to the Xyz monsters, we got the 2 copies of Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, 1 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, 1 Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosack, 1 number 11 Big Eye, and then we have our number 41 Baguska, our Utopia package 39, and also Lightning. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, the extra deck is pretty straightforward if you go into it, because most of the time you can just spam the board with powerful dragons. You don't really need to go into extra deck. As if at all you go into extra deck, the only card you're really going to go for is your Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. You'll go for that over almost anything else, and then you'll just use Vortex Dragon to negate, and you'll just swing for game with these powerful dragons. That's pretty much the deck. It's straightforward. You know, it's no tricks here, tricks there. It's I'm summoning dragons and I'm swinging for game. And that's why I love it. And that is my Odd Eyes Dragon deck profile. This is Trey from Team Hotheads signing out.